Hey up, back here, the iconic brick wall. So, it's a new day. Change. Up and down and up and down. It's interesting, the whole spiritual journey of like trying to attain peace of mind or enlightenment or whatever you're trying to attain on a spiritual journey. You think you get it and then you lose it and you're like, oh fuck. But really what people want to attain, or what people want to attain in a spiritual journey, they already have. There's nothing to attain. You've already got it. It's this innate beingness. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for this happiness that is unconditional, that isn't dependent on anything. You're looking for this love. And it's right here, right now. The problem being is that we have an idea or concept about what we think that happiness and love looks like or feels like. We mistake it with uplifting emotions, but that's not what we're looking for. We're not really looking for a happy emotion. I think this is what can tend to happen is, well, usually what happens is like there's a state of things becoming new, and then there's a state where those things become old. And so when exciting things are happening for you, and maybe you're becoming really mindful, and you're having like some realizations or awakenings or whatever, and it's like this really exciting thing. It's like, wow man, I've cracked the fucking code. I'm happy, this is it. But that thing doesn't stay around forever. It's new and it's exciting, but then it dies down, and it's either you've lost it, or it's just it's just a normal thing now. And so you think maybe it's like you go like, oh fuck, I had it and then I lost it. Really, you can't lose it. There's nothing to lose here. You can't lose a reality. You can't lose eternity. You know what I mean? It's forever. It's always here. There's nothing to be lost. So we mistake happiness for a state of mind. I don't know. Tricky stuff. What I'm trying to say is that it's not about feeling one way all the time. Because you're not going to. You're born into this world with a lot of fucking karma and conditions that are gonna keep popping up over and over again. You're going to go through the cycles. And so what can sometimes tend to happen is you go through like a releasing of some sort of condition or karma. You go through a releasing of that and it's like, oh fuck, I did it, I'm free from that, I'm so mindful now, I'm fucking enlightened. But then like down the road it can happen again, like that same sort of condition or karma shows up again and you're like, what the fuck, I thought I released this, I thought I let go of that. And it's true, you did, but only a bit of it. You only let go of a bit of it. The next thing that's showing up is another piece to the puzzle of this karma or of this condition. So that's what you got to remember, is that life is always going to be a cycle of up and down, where things become new, and then when those new things become old. And it's important not to just be grateful and excited for the things that are becoming new and exciting. It's also important to be grateful for the thing when life seems boring and all the new exciting things that you had is becoming old again. Becoming old. So like today is like a very chill day. Like I don't fucking know what I'm doing. Like this is the thing, so it's like before it'd be like I know what I'm doing and I know, like, you know when you have like such clarity and you know what you're doing, you know where you're going, you know who you are, you know, you're confident with clarity. And like it's relaxing and you know you're peaceful. Well, today is all muddled up. I don't know what to do. There's confusion, there's not clarity. I'm just to be like yeah. And so it's important here not to think that this is a bad thing, and not to think that I've got to get back to my clarity and get back there, because that's going to come on its own accord. When you start becoming more mindful, you can start to see these cycles of life where you know what you're doing, you have a lot of clarity, and then it goes around and you're confused and you don't know what you're doing and you don't know who you are. But then that gives rise to the next cycle, which is the clarity. You're growing. You're always going to be growing. You're not just going to stagnate and be who you are. That's another thing as well, is that sometimes I think in the future, like I'm going to be fucked in the future, I'm never going to get my life together, or how am I going to cope in life? But what I forget is that I'm going to grow in life. The way that I perceive the world now and the way that I relate to my experience, the way that I relate to my own thoughts and feelings, the way that I relate to the whole world, that is going to change in the future. It's inevitable that it will, and I don't know how it is, but from my past, from being mindful of my previous experiences, of how I do change, of how I do start relating differently to things. From that I can see, I have a lot more faith in the future. I have a lot more faith that you know, my highest destiny for my own well-being will fold out the way it needs to. So just trust. Sometimes like you get like really mindful. It's like I'm fucking God. I have mastered life. I'm enlightened. I know what it's all about. It's like you have this. It's great. But then like when that fades away, you're like, fuck, I've lost it. And then you start. It's like, you know, you want to try and get back to that. It's like, fuck's sake. Like I can imagine like me, say, one day looking at the trees and being so mindful of them and like recognizing my own beingness and like the profundity and the fact that I'm alive and like this just shift of consciousness happening. And then here I can look at the trees and then like try and make that shift happen again, but nothing happens, and then I get angry and it's like, oh, why can't I fucking turn this switch into, you know, shift my consciousness and experience oneness and profundity and shit. And that's what tends to happen, is that a lot of people start treating spirituality like an addiction, like they have this like experience of oneness or whatever, and then when they don't experience that, they want to get back to that, and then they reject their current experience. You know, it's like, oh, I feel separated, I don't feel happy, I don't feel loved, I've got to try and get back to that experience. But you have to honor what is arising for you at the moment and not try and sort of make a reality. It's already here. Reality is already here. You don't need to project anything onto it. You don't need to imagine it to be anything else. And so it's about loving all aspects of yourself equally. It's easy to love yourself and love the world when you're having this peak experience of oneness. Not so easy to love yourself when you're being criticized by others, and then you criticize yourself and you're feeling these feelings of self-doubt and unworthiness and shit like this. Not so easy to love yourself then, is it? But that is just as much as you as when you're having some peak experience of oneness. And this is the thing, this is oneness, is that we're so like, I want to be one, I want to have this oneness experience and feel liberated. But the funny thing is, it's like, I want to be liberated from my unworthy, all these neuroses that I have, all these like this past trauma and all that shit. It's like, I want to be liberated from that. Like what we're saying basically is, I don't see them as one. I want to ditch them. I wish they weren't in reality. I don't want them here, so then I can experience oneness. But that's not oneness, because these things that you don't like, you're pushing away. You're saying everything's one except these things that I have here. These bullshit neuroses, these feelings of self-hate and unworthiness, and like, fuck them off. I don't want them. So it's important to love these things equally to anything else, because it's all part of reality. The thing is that the spiritual path is really about getting in touch with what is, not with what isn't. And so if you reject or deny these feelings that you have that you don't like, and you try and push them under the rug, then you're not really looking at what needs to be looked at, because, you know, what you're trying to do is get in touch with what is. And the fact of the matter is that sometimes you feel like fucking shit. And you can't deny that. And you don't have to explain yourself to anyone or anything like that. You just have to be honest with yourself and just realize that this is here, and this is only here for it to be loved, for it to be recognized as it is, to be recognized that it exists, to be recognized that it's here to serve you in some way or another. You may not fucking like it, and you don't have to, but just observe that one, just observe the one that doesn't like it, and give that one love as well. Love is not, like, being in a state of love is not being in a state of, is not feeling the same way all the time. Love is just recognizing whatever arises, whether it's a happy emotion or a fucking sad emotion, whatever arises, you love that. As truth, as reality, as something that is real. You're having this feelings of unworthiness. Love it as something that is real. It's real as much as this tree over here. It's real as much as this brick wall. It's as real as anything, because you're experiencing it. And to deny it suggests that it's not real, but it is. And that's really what we're searching for in the spiritual path, is to recognize reality as it is, not filtered through our perception of conditions. So yeah, the battery's about to run out, so thanks for watching.